Hi, welcome back to the shop. Thanks for stopping by. This week's video, I'm going to participate in the YouTube cross-channel challenge for 2021 and for the month of April. The title of the challenge is Found or Free. And so you can make a project out of wood that you find or material that you find or that was given to you free. I think the limit you're allowed to spend on the project is $10. So what I have here is a piece of apple, and it is extremely green. Came off of my son's property, and if you watch my channel, you'll know that we're renovating a house there where we had to take down this tree. It's super heavy, so I'm going to try and make a natural edge bowl out of this one. So what I've done is I've split it down the center with a chainsaw, so I cut the pith out and turned it upside down here on the splat on the drill press, and I just took a 4-inch Forstner bit and made a flat surface so that it can go on my woodworm screw. So I'm going to mount this on the woodworm screw. So it is just clearing the chuck, and that's all. It's a good thing I made it 4 inches. So I'm going to bring the tailstock up. It is going to be out of balance. I don't have the brad in my tailstock. This is going to be the bottom because with the natural edge, obviously this is going to be the top. So I'm just going to hold that in for a little extra support here. Okay, you can see I cut some of the corners off in the bandsaw as well. That's just to save a little bit of beating and thrashing, maybe a little bit of chipping out. So you can see how green this is by the splash on the camera. So I'm going to set the camera, clean it up, set it up a little bit higher, and water on my arm. It is very, very green. One of the other conditions of this challenge was that it was going to be, you had to make it within 24 hours, so you can go from there. All right, hopefully I've got you up with the spray here now. We'll give this another try. Try and get as much speed as we can out of this. Okay, it's almost trued up here, so I'm just going to take the tailstock away for a short time, just clean up this bottom, and I'll make a tenon on it while I'm at it. And when you're cutting a piece like this where you're hitting wood in the air and wood in the air, the faster you can spin it, the better, which also means in this case the more the water's going to fly. So you turn it till the vibration starts and then back off. Alright, so we're round, and the bark is pretty clean. I just got to take some of these lines up. You notice I'm wiping the shavings off here, and the reason I do that, different people do it different ways. A lot of people watch when they're cutting here, they're watching the other side for the ghost image. I don't normally. I like to keep it because my lathe has a nice solid colored right here, and I can see a much better what I'm cutting and what I'm not cutting right there. So when you're doing work like this, you want to take out some tool lines with the skew on its side. If you grind your skew one side than the other, when you grind the second side, it's going to put a wire edge up on the first face that you ground. And so if you leave that so that wire edge is up, it actually acts like a bit of a shear. And so that wire edge will actually shear cut a lot better than just scraping. And you can see that's pretty clean right there. Even the bark, that green bark is nice and clean. So just a little something I picked up along the way. Alright, so I've got the outside sanded. I sanded with the lathe on down here. I took the drill with a 2-inch disc and I sanded up here, and then I took hand sandpaper and I sanded it up to 600, so it's pretty good all the way around now. The reason you want to get any of your sanding done now, as much as you can now, is because when I turn the middle of this, it's going to start to change shape and it's going to be really difficult to sand it. So we're going to flip it over, put it back, put the tenon in the forejaw, and we're going to hollow it out as thin as we can make it. So normally, if you've watched me make bowls before, you'll know that I usually only go down a little bit and I establish the rim of the bowl. But in this case, I want to be able to get clear in one pass, as close as one pass as I can, all the way down this bark trail. So I need to hollow out enough in the center that my chisel doesn't bottom out while I'm still in bark. So I can take just a little bit more out of here. And then as I get a little closer to the final thickness, which is going to be very thin on this because I don't want it to crack, as I get closer to that final thickness, I will sharpen my chisel so we get a really good clean bark edge. It's actually a pretty good cut on that. And you can tell that the thickness is thicker here than here. So I'm going to just work from here down to get this all the same thickness, and I'm going to try and make one finishing pass and take the whole thing down at one time. Alright, I am going to sharpen up my chisel and turn my tool rest to the inside, turn the lathe speed up a little bit, make these last few passes on those walls. All right, so I had to leave this overnight because the sides where they were so green were very flimsy, and it made it difficult to sand. So overnight it stiffened up. I put it back in. It's gone out of shape pretty significantly now, so it was all power sanded inside and hand sanded inside. Then I went back and hand sanded the outside again as well. And so now I'm going to take it off the 4-jaw chuck. I'm going to sand the bottom off, and I'll bring it back when I'm touching up the very bottom. And I think I'll put some Danish oil on this. I'll leave some stills up at the end, and if you're still with me, thanks so much for hanging around. If you haven't subscribed and you like what you saw, please consider doing so. And to everyone who has subscribed, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. I'm very thankful for my subscribers. My channel's grown much faster than I ever thought that it would, and I'm certainly thankful for that. If you want to leave a comment or a thumbs up, please feel free to do so. That certainly helps the channel out a lot. If you didn't like what you saw, leave a thumbs down, but please do let me know why in the comments so that I can improve. We'll see you next time.